I'll just make a short intro about Dr. Herrera. No? Dr. Herrera is a licensed psychologist in the Philippines and in California. And she obtained her master's and doctoral degrees in psychology from the Wright Institute in Berkeley, California. But right now, what I like about your info, Doc Jabi, is that you have a new group right now helping underprivileged people and giving them mental health services. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah. That's Circle of Hope Community Services. It's actually a mental health, community-based mental health program. We also provide developmental services, early childhood education to low-income communities.
And then now you have this website that
Yes,
put up. It's called Let's Thrive Together.org.
that's right. It's connected to Circle of Hope, but it's also specifically put up to help people and communities through this crisis.
Uh-huh.
So a group of mental health professionals just kind of worked on this together. The past 72 hours, we've been trying to collate and write information that we think would be helpful to people in terms of being being resilient and coping effectively through this crisis.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so Doc Jabi, because of this crisis that we are under, we're all experiencing now worldwide, ang nagiging problema
Mm-mm.
ng most parents right now ay, well, they're in the home 24/7 with their children and
Yeah,
their houses. So nai-imagine mo na yung mga, they're
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Even the New York governor has been talking about it. I've seen him talking about it on CNN. How disruptive this
So far.
situation has.
Yeah, because I'm sure something prompted you to open that website, first of all.
Mm,
From serious
mm,
cases to less serious cases. So start po na tayo dun sa mga less serious cases because syempre yung mga magulang, when this started, they never really thought it was, okay, he's gonna stay home for 30 days. No big deal, di ba?
mm,
And then
mm.
they're also home. Some of them worried about their employment. So what
Yeah,
anxieties do you see because of all this when it started out?
yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, the disruption is happening on several levels. We're anxious about our health. We're anxious about the economy. We're anxious about our employment and our finances.
Right?
And then there's also the social disruption in terms of our daily routine and what's familiar to us. So the disruption can happen on many different levels.
Mhm.
And I think it's important to recognize that this situation, although we are at home, we're not going to work, kids are not in school, it's not a party. It's an enforced staycation. But yeah, but
So,
it's
ang mga
go ahead.
naming complaints, or hindi naman complaints, issues, Doc Jab, is um, young children being cooped up 24 hours. So, na-imagine mo, what can you suggest to the parents who are, first of all, number one, should they worry? Kasi ang pinost ko kasi the other day is, they're very worried, especially for the parents who think na may hinahabol kaming eskwelahan na nagkulang dahil they had to cut school. Ang sabi
Mm-mm.
ko na, hindi muna yon ang importante right now. Yes.
Well, definitely, our priorities now would be number one, health and safety. Right.
Yes.
So number one priority is health and safety. Second would be our mental health and well-being. Why is that really important now? Our immune system doesn't, so protecting ourselves from the virus isn't just about blocking the pathogens via hygiene, via hand washing, via social distancing. we know that we are more resilient on a physical level if we
Mhm.
have a healthy immune system. And a healthy immune system also relies on our emotional well-being.
Or buti nasabi mo
So,
job kasi
yeah,
we have an invisible enemy, which is the virus, but I think
yes,
yung emotional system is also an invisible health that parents tend to ignore kasi nga hindi na
yes,
nahahawakan, hindi ka naman
yes,
inalagnat pag depressed ka, 'di ba? So
yes,
minsan hindi nila
right,
isip yung anxiety, stress and depression. So what do
absolutely.
yes, what do you think are the signs? So for example, we are on our first week of this quarantine. Ano yung mga dapat bantayan ng mga parents first sa kanila, sa sarili nila at
Mm-mm.
susunod sa kanilang mga anak naman?
Right. I mean, I think it's important to normalize the anxiety and stress that people are feeling. Of course, this is a crisis situation. So it's a very normal response to feel scared, to feel anxious, and to feel uncertain about the future. And we have to recognize that and to turn to ourselves with compassion that we have all those feelings.
Mm.
But the work upon us as adults and as parents is really, really managing how we feel about it and balancing it so that the fear and panic don't take over and don't get the better of us. One, for our own immune system, because fear and panic, it affects our immune system in a negative way. So it makes us more, it gives us stress. And when we're stressed, our body produces stress hormones that compromise our physical health. So we don't want that at this time, right? So for that reason, we don't want it. Secondly, fear and panic causes, when it takes over, it causes tunnel vision.
Oh, okay.
So the part of the brain, the amygdala, becomes overactivated, with a fear response in a way that disengages the thinking part of our brain. So pag nananaig yung takot,
Mm.
uh, syempre normal na matakot, di ba? Pero pag hinayaan kasi natin na
Mag-cope.
for ourselves,
Oo.
right, to get stuck with the fear, or it becomes like a big monster in the house or in our lives, um, it disinhibits us, or it prevents us from being able to make decisions in a wise way, in an effective way. We get very skewed in our thinking. Hindi natin nakikita yung whole perspective. So in this time, perspective is so important.
And it's nice that you say perspective, Doc Jab, kasi ang nakikita ko ngayon, kunwari, when I go to the grocery, when I am able to go to the grocery, is fear and panic. It's very evident sa mga magulang sa faces nila and probably the way they deal with other people. And they
Yes.
that children are not aware of it. But the children are aware that their fear and panic are already
Yes.
overwhelming them.
The children are aware of it and the children feel it. So, in the same way that the virus is a contagion out there, fear is a contagion, and it can just be as damaging.
That's
Um, yeah. So the first step talaga to managing children's anxiety is to manage
their
our
own.
own anxiety and to intentionally manage and practice, uh, skills, strategies that really elicit a relaxation response in the body, kasi this is a neurophysiological process,
What are your suggestions, Doc Jab, on how parents can do it? Their
Yeah.
spouses are at home, their children are at
Yes.
how
Oo, oo.
a father or a mother going to go be more mindful of their emotions if they don't have space in their own home
Yes.
alone, no?
One is structure. No, a lot of the experts who are talking about how to help families cope with this situation is to make sure you have a routine or a structure in place.
Mm-hmm.
Because not just for
Yeah.
adults and for kids,
Yes.
right? because it creates a sense, it's particularly important for kids because it creates a sense of predictability, stability, certainty. And we want to give them that sense of,
Transitions can you suggest, Doc Jab, especially now that they're not going to school?
right. So,
Pag-
first, make that schedule, make that structure very explicit. So, write it, put it up on your wall, write it on a whiteboard, starting from your whole day schedule. When
Mhm.
you wake up, is it prayer time? Is it the mindfulness meditation time for the family?
Yes,
um, you start with exercise.
yes.
Even the meal times should be part of the routine. Regular meal times.
So
Is there
this is part of
right?
normalizing the day in a very
Right.
normal situation, no?
Yeah, yeah, because then it becomes more manageable to parents. Parents can also take turns. If they have other caretakers at home, that's a very fortunate situation. And if not, my suggestion would be that parents between themselves designate zones or time zones of who's in charge
Oh,
of the
that's good.
kids.
So if one parent is in charge at a certain time, the other parent has that quote unquote rest.
Personal time, or maybe that's your work time because a lot of parents are working remotely from home.
Alam mo, naniniwala ako dyan, Doc Javi, pero we really want to expound it more with parents that they really need to fill up their own gas tanks first, di ba?
Yes,
Para they
yes.
are able to take care of their children more. Okay,